So relatively recently I bought a new PC and I chose Radeon video card for it. So I bought the Radeon video card for the first time ever, and I had to get familiarized with a bunch of terminology concerning the video drivers since I'm using Linux. So as far as I understand, this is how it goes. AMD GPU is a non-proprietary graphics driver integrated in the kernel. Mesa is a non-proprietary graphics library, uses OpenGL, Vulkan, and many others. I listed only these two because I think if you're only a user, these are the most important ones that you're going to look out for. It's not a driver, it supports AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel video cards, and it also by default uses RADV. RADV is non-proprietary, Mesa's Vulkan implementation made by the community. AMD VGA is non-proprietary Vulkan implementation but made by AMD. Radeon SI, non-proprietary, Mesa's OpenGL implementation for OpenGL programs and specifically other video cards that don't support Vulkan. AMD GPU-pro, proprietary like Mesa but only for AMD video cards, uses AMD GPU to work, and it also by default uses AMD VGA. I think I've seen the term AMD VGA Pro. If that exists, I guess that would be the proprietary version of AMD VGA. So AMD GPU Pro is said to be for professional use only. It probably has some other locked away features. ACO is a shader compiler for AMD hardware. It's used to replace LLVM. LLVM is a huge project, shader compilation being one of the things that it does. So ACO is reportedly much better at shader compilation. It gives positive results when it comes to video games. It has been included in Mesa since Mesa version 19.3, and it uses RADV. So for now, ACO doesn't work with AMD VGA. It also works only for Radeon RX 300 or newer. So maybe in the future they will provide support for older video cards, especially Radeon video cards that use OpenGL only. And just for reference, if you happen to use the node kernel instead of AMD GPU, you might see Radeon. Radeon is the non-proprietary graphics driver integrated in the kernel used before AMD GPU. It's the default for Radeon HD 7000 and RX 200, but an experimental version of AMD GPU can be used for those two. And the Radeon video driver has been in use since Radeon 7000, which was released in the year 2000 and around the time when Vulkan became a thing, everyone switched over to AMD GPU. Here I have a couple of commands which you can use to check which drivers you have in use. Obviously this is a shorter version of this, depending on how much information you want. So basically Mesa uses RADV by default. ACO is integrated in Mesa. If you want newer version of ACO, you have to update Mesa, and AMD GPU is integrated in the kernel. If you want a newer version of AMD GPU, you have to update your kernel. Now, some people are making lots of tests. First, testing RADV against AMD VGA, also testing Mesa against AMD GPU Pro. For the most part, it seems like The default non-proprietary options are the best, which is AMD GPU and Mesa with RADV, and ACO can only make things better. So since you have AMD GPU in the kernel by default, you don't really have to do anything once you have your distribution installed. The only thing that you probably will have to get is the Mesa packages. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and until next time.